Hi, it's Extension Agent Jason Evans. I'm in Trousdale County. Today I wanted to tell you about a simple method to check the moisture of your forage before you cut it or before you roll it, whether you're making hay or baleage. I get lots of questions, especially about baleage. What does the moisture need to be? Well, how can I check it? Well, one of the simplest and probably the most accurate way is to just use a common microwave. I have several producers that have bought the moisture testers that are on the market. And they do a good job, especially for our dry hay. But with the higher moisture baleage, it needs to be baled in moisture range of from about 45% to 60%. And if you read the manuals for most of those moisture testers, they will tell you they are not very accurate over 40% moisture. And so that's why I use a microwave when I'm testing ours. My family's been doing baleage, I don't know, 10 or 12 years. And so I'm the one that ends up getting to do the test. I tested it. It's a good idea to test it while it's standing. So before we cut it, I took a sample. This wheat and crimson clover was about 78% moisture standing, and so we done this last week. And so one of the things you need to do this, you're going to need to collect a representative sample. So make sure your sample has all the portions of the stem all the way up to the seed head if it's got that far. Make sure if you've got multiple species that you've got a pretty good mix of what the field is. So you've got clover and wheat. In my case, I've got both of those in this large representative sample. Then I usually take some scissors and I trim my sample down to kind of where it'll put on my plate or container, something, whatever you're going to use that's microwave safe to be able to put your sample in the microwave and cook it. And so then when I do this, I try to weigh my sample out into a 100-gram sample. So I usually weigh my container first. In this case, my plate weighs 590 grams. Then I get a 100-gram sample. If you can get close to 100 grams, 100, 102, maybe even 98 or 99, we'll just say it's 100, and it makes your math a lot easier later on. Then you'll need 2 cups, plastic cups, microwave safe containers. Plastic doesn't seem to get as hot. It's very important that you have 2 of them, and I'll tell you why a little bit later. So then I've recorded my weight in my plate. I've recorded then the weight of my sample. The total weight is 690 grams. Then when I get ready to put the sample in the microwave, I take one of the containers, I fill it about 2/3 to 3/4 way full, and I put it in the corner of the microwave. I'll put it back in the back corner, and then I'll go ahead and I'll put my sample in. And so you put your sample in, and then when I do this, is I do it in a 3 to 4 step process. So cooking these samples down, if you use a 100-gram sample, it's going to take, especially with my microwave, it's going to take 15, 17 minutes to get it dry. And so I do it in 5-minute increments. So the first time I'll start it and I'll run it for 5 minutes. At the end of that 5 minutes, I'll take my sample out, careful not to lose any, kind of mix that sample up, so stir it up a little bit. I take that out then, and before I put the sample in, I swap my water. I take the jar out, or in my case it's a jar and 1 cup. I take that out, I put a fresh cup in, put fresh water in there. What happens is, the reason it's important to have that water in there is the water in there prevents you from burning or cooking that sample. All you want to do is pull the moisture out. And so by having the water, it prevents us from doing that and overcooking it. And so if you don't change your water out, what will happen in the second 5 minutes, that water will start to boil, and then your sample will start picking up water vapor from the water that's in there. And so you have to exchange the water each time you stop your microwave to prevent it from boiling. And so then I do it for 5 minutes. I swap my water, mix my sample, and do it for 5 more minutes. Then I usually just grab a quick weight at the end of that 10 minutes, so I've got an idea. Then I put mine back in for 3 minutes. Once I do that, at the end of 3 minutes, I take it out, I stir it back up, I grab a quick weight. Then your change in weight is probably going to be very small. So, just a few grams a lot of times. Then the next thing I do is I'll pull it out, swap my water, and for the last time on mine, I do it for 2 minutes. And usually my weight has quit changing. Once your weight stops changing, you know that sample is completely dry. And so in my case, I'll take the sample out, and you will know the sample is dry. You can feel it. And you want to make sure that there's no burnt smell, because if you have a burnt smell, then you're actually burning the sample and not just drying it down. So you may have went a little too far. But when you rub these samples together, one of those samples, it'll be dry. You know it's dry. It feels dry. It'll be completely dry. Well, in this case, my final weight was 623 grams. I subtract my final weight and I subtract the plate out of it. So that way my sample now weighs 33 grams. So I take my original sample weight of 100 grams minus my final sample weight of 33 grams, and equals my percent moisture is 67% moisture. So this sample here, we're very close to getting ready to put that baleage up. We get it in that 60% range. When I get down there, I'm ready to start rolling, so I can get it put in a roll before it gets out of that 40 to 45% moisture range. So one of the things that you will need, probably the two most important things to have when you're doing this, is a good microwave. Probably doesn't need to be your wife's microwave sitting in the kitchen. In my case, this microwave sits in my basement, which is now my home office. And so this is all this microwave and this table does, is I have a postal scale here. The postal scale measures in grams and pounds. I like to use grams. Grams makes the measurement a lot easier when you're doing the math. And I use the 100-gram sample because once you do the subtraction, it gives you the percent moisture. So this is a really simple way to check moisture on your forage. It works for dry hay as well. It probably don't take the 15 minutes because you're starting with a product that probably, if you're getting ready to roll your hay, it's much lower in moisture anyway. And so you can check it there to get an idea before you roll your hay or roll your baleage. And so it's just a really simple method. If you have questions, you can contact your local extension agent.